Hey guys, Jaybird here, and we're going to be jumping into a new tutorial today. This one's going to be a little bit more subjective, it's one of those tutorials where it's kind of me giving you more opinions than actual do's and don'ts. Like, this is more what I've learned from my experience and what I've learned from other people, from what they've told me. But basically, we're going to be going over, this is going to be a mapping series now that we're going to be going into. So this first one's going to be more of an introduction into more advanced stuff and some of the things that I like to do and some of the things that I try to avoid. So one of the main things that I kind of want to go over here is I'm going to break this first video up into 5 parts. So the first thing I want to go over is the fact that I use reference images to get an idea of what I want to make. So if you're going ahead and you're mapping by hand and you're just kind of going off your own thing, it doesn't usually end well unless you already got a really good idea what you're going for. It's great to get other opinions on this, so we'll go ahead and get into that in a bit. Another thing that I want to go over is grid sizes. I've noticed a lot of mappers, particularly who are new to mapping, use very blocky grid sizes, so a lot bigger than what they should be using, and I'll kind of go over what I like to use in what sort of situations to kind of get the nice look to your map so it doesn't look like a box map like what a lot of people label their maps as. The next thing I'm going to go over is something that a lot of the more advanced mappers call model spam. So if you're new to mapping, there's a term that we like to use called model spam, which is when a mapper thinks that they're adding detail, but in reality they're just putting a whole bunch of models in, and that does not necessarily mean detail. You can have a lot of models that detail your map, but it depends on how you use them and whatnot, so we'll go over that as well. The fourth thing that I want to go over is fine details. These are some tips that I will go over kind of that I use in my own map. They're things to kind of get rid of some of the emptiness in your room and to kind of fill in your map to make it feel like it has more to it. And the last thing that I'm going to go over is just how to add character to your map, which is kind of a vague thing to say, but it's kind of to make your map stand out, to make it seem like it's got this sense of purpose. There's no point in making a room if that room doesn't have a purpose. So we'll go over how to kind of integrate all of these things into your map and kind of help improve with your mapping skills. Alright guys, let's jump into this. So the first thing I'm going to go over was going to be references. So when it comes to mapping, it's good to have an idea of what you're going for. So usually you want to come up with your theme before you start mapping. You could try to free map, but it's not very recommended unless you know what you're doing. But what I like to do is usually 3 things. So if I own a game that I want to get some ideas from, what I can do, say for instance I'm on Infinite Warfare here, I can just go into a custom match, pick out my map, and a nice thing to do would be to go into the game settings and just set the time limit down to unlimited. And then that way you can just walk around the map and do whatever you want. You can look around, you can have your own ideas and kind of like investigate on what an actual developer would do for mapping. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of walking through the map now. You would think if you were going to make just a little hallway, you got a couple doors here, you'd think, okay, well I could just put up some walls, I could put up some doors, and kind of throw some stuff on the walls to kind of get some ideas for some detail. The neat thing that Call of Duty does is they go a step beyond that. They do something that like you would see more in the real world. Even though this isn't playable, you actually got this kind of skylight area here. So they could have easily just put a roof right over this area and just called it good. But to add that little bit extra detail to the map, they gone ahead and made the full floor, the whole height of the building. You can see we got so many floors up here, and we even got like a broken wall that you can even access to outside. So you could actually use this to gameplay as well. Like say you were playing multiplayer, you could easily throw something out the window to kind of breach out here first, and then kind of break out. So they kind of take into consideration the gameplay style that you're doing as well. They also would do certain things such as, like, you come into this room and you'll notice that we got a flat wall coming along here, but out here we have it curved off. Obviously there's nothing on the other side of this wall here, but it gives it that kind of character that allows the map to have more of a design to it, and it's not just a flat box. Like, you'll notice we got an elevator here. That's not even accessible, but it's there for detail. It kind of gives you the feeling that you're in this sort of hotel now because we have an elevator here, and that we have this kind of front desk here, and it kind of all fits into the theme that they're going for, which is this sort of modernized building. Even though we're in this futuristic setting, it still has this sort of modern feeling to it. We have archways to kind of give it more of a Victorian era. So, you know, they kind of go ahead and fit all of their models, all of their detail to the same theme. We have Victorian style kind of desks here. We have luggage on carts, so that further shows you that this is a hotel that they were going for, which matches with the elevator that they were going with here and the front desk. So we can kind of get a sense that this is a check-in area. So if you guys have a plan and you want to go for something like that, you can always go into a game and find something. It doesn't have to be Call of Duty, it can be any game, and just find something similar to what you're going for. You can kind of just look around and get some ideas of the detail that a developer would put into that, and then you can take those sort of ideas. You don't have to go one for one, but you can kind of implement those sort of cool ideas into your own map. Okay, so the next thing that I kind of want to go over is still on the references side of things. Let's say you don't have the game that you want to get a reference from. You know, the amazing thing about the internet is people have uploaded absolutely everything. So, like, take this site for instance. This is called leveldesign.org. This site is literally people who have gone through a lot of games and taken screenshots of literally everything. They'll just go around the map, they take screenshots, and they upload them to different sites. This is just an example. I just Google searched for level design crisis, and this is what came up. So you can literally go in and just have a look at what other games would do. So this is kind of going on to the whole idea of what I was talking about before of infinite warfare. So if you've got this game, you might as well just walk around it yourself, because then you can get more of a better idea. But let's say you don't have the money for this game, or you just don't own it in general, you can always just Google search for like a lot of this stuff, and there's really like an unlimited supply of what you can find on the internet, really. So one of the other sites that I want to go over is something called Pinterest. So this is something that I use actually quite a bit. It's a really neat site. There's a lot of cool art on here as well, but what I like to do is kind of like, let's say for instance I've searched up a hallway for a hospital. So you can see I kind of got a whole bunch of images here. Some of them could be quite useful, like take this one for instance. You kind of get that kind of modernized hallway of like what you would have in a hospital that you would see nowadays. You can see we've got lines going along the floors, little side corridor pockets, little bulletin boards that they have on the wall, little decals kind of pointing in the direction of stuff. You can see all these small things, and you can just go around, just search for literally anything. This site is so helpful. I really recommend that you guys get an account on this site and just kind of look through a lot of the images. You do require an account. You don't need to pay for anything. There's no there's no pay point to this site. It's completely free. But look at this. Like, this could show, like, this gives me so many ideas of what I could do for a hallway to give it more of, let's say I wasn't going for a clean look for a hospital, but I was going for more of a horror style. Like, this is perfect. You can see the lighting is slightly tinted greenish blue, and it gives you that like eerie kind of almost horror movie-esque mood to this. So you can really play around with the lighting. And you can notice that it seems to be very square linear lighting relative to the lights that they have on the ceiling here, and you know, they got pipes. It really looks like an older style building, but the mood is really set by the lighting. So this is a good example of how to play around with lighting, and you can do this in Black Ops 3. We have an amazing lighting engine now that we have volumetrics, we have like a whole bunch of amazing things that we can do with the lighting. So really just looking around for images is like amazing because you can always get these good ideas and try to implement them into your own map. Alright guys, thank you all for watching. This is going to be the first part to the series. As for the Twitter poll that I put up, we're going to be breaking this into 5 smaller videos instead of one long hour. That way you guys will be able to just click on whichever video you feel like watching instead of having to skim through the whole thing. So I'll have this set up in a playlist, and I hope you guys all enjoy. I'll talk to you in the next one. See ya.